you say, but now you've got 6 months worth of communications going out to your sphere that's already taken care of. If you choose to, because there's enough content in there to do that and build it.
Yeah. Joe, we're all set? Okay, I'll do a quick introduction. So welcome to this online segment where we're talking about the how to multiply time, and it's by Rory Vanden. It's an 18-minute TED Talk. So everyone here has listened to it. We're just starting to get our general thoughts about it. And I've put some of those notes already up on the board where we're talking about the difference in prioritizing, the efficiencies or urgencies, and the significance, and a three-dimensional look at how we manage time. Right? Is that a good, that's a good intro? Okay. Yeah. So if you haven't watched it yet, just pause right now, go watch it and come back. Right? Is that our advice, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's pick up maybe where we were. You know, what I want to end with, of course, is, well, what does this mean to my day-to-day choices on how I run my real estate business? And that's where we need to talk about that. You know, that's kind of where this is a running start, and saying, well, what does this mean on how I'm handling my time every day? And am I looking at it in the three-dimensional way that Rory's suggesting that we do? So that's kind of where we're headed. But any other general thoughts? Debbie, did you have a comment?
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Day to day, let's say that you have, I need to check my email and I need to work on my future marketing, but I also need to touch base with 4 clients so they know where we are in the process. To me, touching base with those 4 clients are significant. They are the things that will save me time in the future.
Okay.
Because I'm not losing track of the thread, or they're frustrated because they didn't know how the appraisal came in. That those, and a lot of people, I would think, sit down and answer email or check Facebook first, where in fact the higher significance, which is your clients or that, you know, touching base with people, should rise to the top, as opposed to a task list that might be somewhere.
Yeah. I yesterday we were talking about different forms of automation, digital campaigns, and all these other things, and the agent said, I've got no time to do all those things because I'm out in my truck and I'm visiting, you know, ranch owners. And I thought, well, time out. Nothing we're going to do over there will beat the face-to-face personal contacts that you're making.
Right.
So although that's priority and maybe significance combined together, the thing that was most intriguing, because I had to say, wait, am I thinking about this right? How do I get a return on time when I'm looking at it from a significance standpoint in my business? I think that is the overarching question for all of us. How do I get a return on time when I make my decisions and task list today? It's like, what am I going to do now that allows me to get a return on time? And I've got a few ideas here, and we've talked about them before, but I don't know that I've ever looked at them this way. Okay. You know, that's I guess is the epiphany, is I've not looked at them on a return on time. We've often said things like, well, what could I do today that matters most to my business? And Debbie's saying, well, I've got some time sensitive things, and I've also got some things that maybe matter most to my business. And that's kind of what Stephen Covey has been saying. But what about the return on time? So any other thoughts before we jump into that? Or I thought we'd probably go another 15 minutes or so. So it's happy Halloween, everyone, you know. Everyone online can't see what I'm looking at, but there's some really nice costumes here today.
I think sometimes we, especially those of us who are kind of control freaks, delegation is a very, very hard thing to do. Really hard thing.
All right, so how many of you struggle with delegation? Okay.
Because nobody can do it as well as you can. So,
Okay.
But there's a lot of things.
Where do you think that?
you think that.
Yeah, we think that no one can do it as well. So what did Rory say about that?
You're wrong. You have to give them the opportunity, you know, yet don't expect perfection
Right.
the first couple times
Yeah.
that they do it.
You're going to
for
have
you.
to sacrifice perfection in the beginning
Right.
in order to get the return on time later. So that's a let me train you, and they're going to fail, and they're going to fail, and they're going to fail. Right?
The guilt. Give up the guilt.
Yeah.
I think this is
Yeah.
a very strong.
Yeah, he taught, yeah, because an eliminate. So should we go through the funnel?
Yeah.
I'll go through the funnel. So what was the first?
Ignore.
Eliminate.
Oh, I thought
Okay.
it was ignore.
Eliminate.
That is
So
ignoring.
the item comes to you and you say, wait a minute, do I need to do this? And I have something in my email right now that somehow I got this task about 2 months ago. It's come up again because I haven't done it. But the other teammates don't know that I've already done this. I just didn't say it. And that's kind of haunting me today. Speaking of Halloween, it's haunting me. So I've got to do something about that. I haven't let my teammates know, yeah, I won't be doing that one. I mean, someone else probably should handle that one, but I've eliminated it. Okay, what was the next one?
Delegate, I think.
Automate.
Oh,
Automate.
automate, right, automate, then delegate. Okay. Automate. Okay, so I'm asking myself, first of all, can I eliminate it? Okay, no. Well, can I automate it? So what comes to mind in real estate where we ask, can I automate this process?
Joyce Glissmeyer. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's delegate.
That would be delegate, yeah.
That's the intranet.
Okay, a lot of things we could do where we can automate.
Technology.
Yeah, so we got some technology like
The intranet. And like
Marketing
those
resources.
marketing e-blasts and stuff.
marketing resource. So these are all of our CRM. Thank you. A lot of this stuff comes out as, we take the moment now to automate this. This is akin to the bill pay, but we're going to do this now. And the reason we don't do it, and he took like automatic bill pay. Why don't we set up automatic bill pay?
I don't have time.
I don't have time.
I don't have the 2 hours to do it. But
Yeah.
If you think of it as the
Yeah.
half hour, you save that half hour in 4 months. You're already making more time back
Right.
for yourself.
Right. All right. So maybe that's a realization, and hopefully that information changes how we now look at our business. So how many of us right now need to take the time to automate these systems and tools, or at least better them? Okay. So that is, we're starting to get the significance view of time management. And even though it may take me, it took me 2 to 4 hours to set up this, it may take 4 to 6 months before I get a return on that investment. And I think that's what stands in our way. I mean, I don't have the time to do that today. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what else, do I need to do with maybe my life? What could I do that gives me a return on time better?
And I think sometimes we think, or I do, it's like, oh, well, that might be a waste of my time. That may be a waste of my time to do that. But it's not. But yeah.
But it's hard to see the future benefit.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference in the priority. You're saying, see, the priority is colliding with significance.
Mm-hmm.
Because this investment gives you time in the future. But you're saying, but today it's not my priority. Because something else is rising to the top. You're saying, I've got to get my contacts. And really, they're both right. See, he was saying there's nothing wrong with prioritizing time. That's just not, we all should. But we're losing sight of the other dimension, which is the return on the time. And yeah, we need the automation in our business. We have to take the time to get these things set up. So what could I do today that would give me a return on time? In the automation section is to get busy in setting these things up. And maybe it's just like with prospecting. We block it. I can't have 7 hours today on automate, but I could spend 1 hour, which was a lot better than the 0 hours I've been spending for the last, decades. So today I'm going to grab hold of that, and I'm going to invest the 1 hour today. And then tomorrow I'm going to invest another 1 hour. until I have it automated. Okay, good. Next one.
Delegate.
Delegate. Okay. Okay, why don't we delegate? Allie said earlier because, well,
I do it as well as I can.
yeah, and if you know Allie, so I can imagine Allie in the kitchen, with all these ovens and big stainless steel tables and recipes going,
Piles of dough.
and there's just stuff, and there's ingredients everywhere, and there's a deadline, and Allie is going nuts trying to get all these goods baked, and she's reluctant to show anyone else how because no one can do it as well, and if they don't do it as well, the client will be upset. And if the client is upset, they won't order again. And if they don't order again, we can't stay in business. If we're not in business, I can't pay the bills, and it's just a disaster. And so just everyone just stay out of my way. That was fun. That was fun for
So
me.
true. And not much of an exaggeration.
But yeah, not much one, but yeah, Debbie, thoughts?
The other thing about delegating is it costs money. So you have to delegate to the transaction coordinator or have your lawn mowed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It isn't free.
Yeah.
And it
Unless
seems
you have
as though you
kids.
can't wait to the last moment when you have to complete your bakery order to delegate.
Yeah, that's not the moment
You have to practice.
when the deadline is in 35 minutes or 2 hours, and if I don't get these things in the oven, I'm, So very, very good. I mean, we don't wait to the last minute to finally say, okay, well, can I delegate this?
But that's where you really have to know yourself and know what your best skills are. And then be able to understand that, my best skill might not be in X. So therefore, it's okay to lessen that, take that perfection out and pass it along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know there's certain things I'm not good at and I struggle at. And that's the stuff that I kind of.
Well, isn't this kind of like saying if it's important enough to not eliminate, then you're going to have to automate or you're going to have to delegate it and know what's coming down to. But, Dave is saying, well, look, there might be some things that need to be done, but I'm not good at them. So they're not even going to make it to the next funnel because I've already decided they're important because I didn't eliminate it. So I'm going to have to find someone else to do it. So I am not good at that. And I said earlier, I've got in my inbox this task that I'm going to eliminate. But really what I want to do is not that the thing wasn't important. It's really I should just give it to somebody else because I'm not good at that. Yeah, Michaela.
Maybe a key to delegation isn't just noticing your own strengths and weaknesses, but noticing the strengths of the people around you. And that might make you feel more comfortable to delegate something because you know that this person is actually pretty good at the thing that I'm still really good at, but I can delegate that to her or him comfortably because I know that they're good at it. You know what I mean?
So it's not just conceding I'm not good at something, therefore delegate. I could be good at it. Like, in other words, Allie could be just as good at putting together these bakery items as the next person. Can we still let that go?
We have to.
Yeah,
I
Josie?
think delegation is very time consuming because it usually includes a period of instruction and of the person practicing and you giving feedback. So I think when we wait to delegate until the task is about to be due or done, we already set ourselves for failure.
Yeah.
The frosting may not come out in the consistency you wanted. So, delegating at that moment may not be the right moment, but if you can think ahead and delegate sometimes when you're not in a time pressure. And I think for us that are self-employed, we have a thing about spending, and I don't have that yet. I just think, if I can find somebody who can do this, I'm going to spend the time and pay them and get it done. So I think it takes a complete shift of our mindset to select what we can delegate and who we can delegate it to and work with them when we have time. So that when we are in a time crunch, we can just say, can you run with it?
Yeah. So if the overarching message today is how do I get a return on time,
Make time.
I'm going to have to do that now, and I have to look ahead at who am I training right now that can take this off my plate in 6 months from now, 3 months from now. So I'm going to have to do that now.
That's a big commitment that I'm developing somebody else to assist me in the future.
You know, if I jumped back in to production, sales, and real estate, my very next decision is who's my transaction coordinator. My very next decision is who can play the assistant role to make sure that marketing is consistent and messages are consistent, that I don't have time to do, because I'm more effective and efficient when I am with someone. Those would be the two things that I would do immediately, because those things have to happen. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but remember in the business development, we talked about a marketing calendar. I just put a calendar in there to cue my mind and hopefully yours to say, hey, what are you doing next month? See, it's too late to do anything for Halloween. You know, if you woke up this morning, man, that would be really cool. You know, if I handed out like some safety strips or something for the kids and, you know, reflective things I could hand out in my neighborhood, that would be, you know, pumpkin carver. I mean, wouldn't that be really cool if I could, yeah, too late, right? Last year we had an agent who ordered safety strips that were reflective and they would just go around. And remember when they showed up?
Yeah.
Well, they showed up like this morning last year. And guess what wasn't on them?
His name.
It was like the phone number of the agent wasn't there. Yeah. And you think, okay, so probably could have ordered them like in July. So they arrived maybe 1st of October. So if they were wrong, we could get another order in and have them here for. So this is the kind of thing that is the significance, is that we get ahead of ourselves and say, okay, it's October. Maybe I could plan December right now, but I'm pretty much not going to be able to plan November very well. So I have to plan December. And what could I do today that could give me a return on that time in December? Okay. What's the bottom of the funnel here? So this falls to me, and remember there are two things, right?
Yeah.
And they were now, which is the concentrate and focus. And the other one was?
Can't wait till later.
Wait till later.
Procrastinate.
It was procrastinate on purpose.
Yeah.
It's not the right time to do it. So this one is now, this one needs to wait.
And that one then flips back into the funnel.
Yeah, so then we initially come back up here and say, no, can't, maybe, could, and so what am I gonna do about that? So, you know, remember that he pulled it out like this. If you know you should be doing it now and you're not, that's the kind of procrastination that leads to mediocrity and ultimately just self-destructive. So that's not the right kind of procrastination. But the kind of procrastination where you say, yes, it's important. Yes, I need to do this. It's a priority, it's efficiency, all the three dimensions, but today's not the time. That's a different decision. Talk about being, the only way you're going to do that, you guys, you have to be completely honest with yourself. Otherwise, it's so tempting to say, yeah, let's do that tomorrow. Are you procrastinating? Oh, no, I'm not procrastinating. This is the right kind of procrastination. If we're not really honest, we're gonna get in trouble. And then we find out we're not prospecting like we should on a consistent basis, and we're not having purpose in our prospecting, where the kind of prospecting we're doing is not the most efficient either. So
some of those recycled things we'll realize are not important, and they'll get weeded out in the process. Because that right now we might not know how important it is. So it's not now, it's not the right time. So we reprocess it and it may just fall out.
Yeah.
We may find out it's not important.
It's almost like if you procrastinate 5 times, then you should really think, is it worth eliminating? Because you're spending time even in that process
Yeah.
of thinking it through.
Yeah,
There's a
that's good,
planning,
Josie.
there's a planning part of this funnel that needs to be there. Like you want to delegate this to a transaction coordinator and you want to do it. When do you in this funnel plan to say, well, this is how I want to do it, and then get to automate
Yeah.
and everything else?
Because all of these things take time and investing in how we're gonna do that.
Right.
There's the
You have to
structure.
budget and you have to plan.
Yeah, it's not just the decision, okay, done.
Right.
Because what'll happen is, let's go back to the bakery and Allie is, there's flour flying everywhere and ovens going off, bing, timers, cash register ringing, phones, hey, are you guys on your way? And it's chaos. So when are you going to take the time to inject that person if all this whirlwind's going around? In the book, the four, I just forgot the name.
7 habits.
No, disciplines of
One with
4DX. The 4 disciplines of execution is that tasks were the enemy to planning. They're the enemy of priority as well, because you can't get out of that whirlwind. There's always something else going on until you finally, I have to get out of the tasks to make the plan. And then I can start the training. And that's the trouble.
There are those personalities, I think that's where you have to look at yourself really well too. There's some personalities that they have to have that deadline, that anxiety, that anxiousness to even function, to get anything done in their life. I'm not one of those people. I don't like that anxiety feeling, so I will avoid it at all costs and be so anally structured about things that it's like that's done way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because that's just how I like to roll. But you kind of have to know your personality too.
What if we took, how do you spell chaos?
C-H-I-O-S.
Okay, one person.
CHAOS.
Go with that one.
CHAOS, chaos. Here's the timeline where it's chaos. It's the flour flying, the phone ringing. Are you guys on your way? We're packing up now. So sorry we're running late. Chaos. And perhaps that was the motivator for some. But what if we moved that here and avoided chaos, but said deadline is, and this is today's point, how we plan. When the order is supposed to be completed and delivered here, then it must be in the oven here, it's got to be packaged here, it has to be in the delivery truck here, and then we give ourselves the leeway. This is akin to us getting ahead of the prospecting game now for December. What are you going to do for your center of influence through the holidays, through Christmas? What will you do for them? This is a super time to reconnect with past clients, to go visit them, do drop-ins, as Brian Buffini says, go do your pop buys, simple little gifts, just a note, a card. All of that could be done then. If it's going to take effort, it deserves the planning, which means the deadline for our Christmas connections, it's a good one, for our Christmas connections is now or next week. Where we're planning that now, where we avoid the chaos and move this up here and say, I can get ahead of this. So I'm going to deal with that so if it's Halloween's today, by next Friday, I will plan and organize how I will connect during Christmas and the holidays with my center of influence. That's what I will do. Sound good?
Then there needs a time for reflection to see if you're doing it right. When you make time to say, how's this working?
Great. What if we did a planning review of how we did that in first week of January? What if we had our marketing planning every month for the thing that was 2 to 3 months ahead of us? Because come January, we're going to be talking again about building our business. We'll have our business seminars again, and we're going to think about our year. And we're gonna think, okay, at that point, I should already have, I got Valentine's in February, I could do something there. I've got St. Patrick's Day or, spring in March. I've got.
Veterans Day is a great time to send it, especially to like a group of people that you know.
Right. So whatever I want to target, I've got to get ahead of that. And I should do that early on. And I make my plan. And then what could be delegated? What could be automated? And how does that look? In a real estate transaction, the last thing we want to do is have chaos at closing. Because people are so, at closing, I'm talking about settlement, they can be on emotional edge. And so we have, it takes one or two times and you never do that again. So you do get ahead of the game. And even regulation requires this. How many days prior to settlement does the closing disclosure have to be delivered to the client? 3 days. For this reason, getting ahead of it, allowing us time. Do they think about, are the numbers correct? Did you have time to ask about the numbers? Research them. Yeah. So I think we just move that. Otherwise, we're going to end up in chaos. If you haven't ever read the E-Myth, then read it, because at first it's really easy to read. And it's kind of, because we're lucky enough to have an amazing agent and bakery owner in our midst, I just tend to kind of go there with these analogies. But that's the story of a lady who was fantastic at making pies until her neighbor said, you should open a business. And I've posed this before in coaching. Being a good realtor doesn't automatically equate to owning a good real estate business. And baking pies didn't translate naturally to owning a restaurant or a bakery. And I think a lot of this is mingled. This is kind of the fabric of all of those things that we're talking about. Well, wait, I have to grow a business. And how do I do it? How do I get a return on time in a business? So could it operate? Could orders come in? Customers be happy? Orders delivered on time? People talking about how amazing everything tasted? And refer without alley? Can your real estate business rise to a level where that could happen? If it's possible to do. It's not an easy thing to do. But that's kind of where I think we're trying to go with the significance issue. Is that somebody else has to be able to step in and make things that matter happen when I'm not there. Yeah. A couple more thoughts and we'll wrap it up. Michaela.
Just really quick. Kind of going back to delegation, but I was thinking, man, it would be hard to delegate something because you do have to sit down and maybe you're thinking, if I choose to delegate this, I have to sit down and train that person in the moment. And how am I going to train them? What would I say? How is that even going to look? And I'm thinking, even just day to day, before you get yourself in a situation where you're delegating, if you just think, maybe kind of like duplication. How could I duplicate this thing? Maybe it's the creating a process for everything that you do and thinking in your head as you're sending an email or as you're making a phone call, how would I want this to be done? How do I do this each time? And create like a process for it in your head so that when you do need to delegate it, you're not like, man, I don't even know how I do this. Like, it just kind of comes.
Yeah.
And then that would be really hard to delegate. But if you already have a process in mind, like because you've already been thinking about it, duplicating that and giving it to someone else is going to be a lot easier, I think.
Thanks for bringing that up. One of the common questions I always get from agents, especially that are doing, say, 200,000-ish in GCI, should I hire an assistant? And to Michaela's point, do you have your processes down? Are you ready to hire somebody? It's not fair to bring somebody in when you don't even know what the steps are. That's not fair to them. How does that person even judge their ability to accomplish it if they don't know what the steps are?
How are they rewarded?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge part of letting go of something. It's like, what am I willing to give up personally to benefit them? And that's a tough thing.
Yeah.
To do, but
Yeah.
you've got to do it.
Yeah, when the agent says, well, I tried that transaction coordinator, it didn't work out. I say, why didn't it work out? Because they didn't do it the way I wanted it done. I said, great, show me where you wrote down how you want it done. And then, that there you see. So I think that's a great point, is that you better get your processes and how you like it to be done to be duplicated well before you bring somebody else into your environment. That's not fair to them, and it won't be fair to you because it'll ultimately fail. Yeah, Cindy, and then we'll wrap it up.
So a couple thoughts on that topic, and Berkshire and I already have this, and I'm not aware of it, but when Jamie brought the 3 big boards to the sales meeting,
Yeah.
and now she's hung them over in our break area.
Yeah.
If we could have those in like digital, in paper form, to where like when we get a new listing, here are the steps to do. When it goes under contract, here are the steps to do. When that type of thing, I don't know if Berkshire has that. I think that it could be very helpful, and make the whole training of, should I get a virtual assistant? Should I hire a part-time assistant? Whatever. It would take a whole lot of the stress out of that. And because there's a process,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of little things that if they get missed, it's a big deal. Or could, make a difference if it getting exposed to the right person or what have you.
Yeah.
Because I would think it'd be fairly easy for marketing to put that together. I mean, they already have it, right? Actually, they already have it in the big poster form. Condense that down into
a checklist.
Yeah, and Mark
Yeah.
Erickson has done a fabulous job on, with his, and many of us, he's shared with us the process of, here's what you do now, and different things. So maybe combining the two of those to one that it's easy for, like, what you call it, for dummies?
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. If you're not good at your own process, you're going to be horrible at delegation. You're not going to let anything go if you don't know what your steps are. I think I told you guys this before, but a bunch of brokers, educators, trainers, we're all in this. There's a very seasoned group of people. And I think there was about 4,000 people. And Clayton Christensen, a Harvard dean of business, stood up and he says, I want to get to know you guys. I've been thinking a lot about it. I'm glad to be here, all of that, get to know you. But what is the first step that causes the thing that you want to have happen? When is that? What is that first step that causes the thing you want to have happen? And all of a sudden the room kind of went, and we're all like, what is it? Is it contact? Is it something? And he says, is there some ambiguity here? And we all went, yeah. I went, okay, that's the problem. And we should be hyper-focused on what the very first thing is, and then be focused on the second thing and the third thing. And
That's
so
where the checklist really comes into play.
Yeah. So Cindy brings up the process of once I get a listing, once I get a buyer, because that's what the posters are speaking of. When I get a listing, what do we have for the seller? When I have a buyer, what do I have for this buyer? Now that it's under escrow, what do I have to do? And the checklist, let me look into that. I don't want the monkey. That wasn't the idea, is to give me the monkey. You know what I mean by giving me the monkey? You know what that phrase is?
Limited.
Well, it means that it's reverse delegation. So I'm going, should I eliminate that? Cindy asked me to come up with a checklist,
Okay,
so I didn't want the monkey, but I'll take it and see what we can find out, because it's important to have the processes. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to delegate. But I think that speaks to not only after, but it also speaks to before, and how we go about getting a lead that would ultimately convert to a closing. So anything else before well, thanks for joining me on Halloween. Debbie, you had.
So what was the first step?
The very first step, we decided it was a contact. And you could define that in many different ways, but it was a contact. So there was some way they either reached out to us in a contact, or we reached out to them in a contact. And that became the very first step in the income chain. So there's different ways to make different contacts. Nothing better than face-to-face, but that was the answer. So thanks for joining me on a Halloween morning where it was probably a little more challenging to get here because everyone's like, what am I wearing?
They procrastinated until the last minute.
Yeah, that's right.
They weren't organized, you know?
That's right, Jason. Maybe there was some, they should have delegated it. Believe me, I wanted to eliminate it. I'm like, can we skip Halloween altogether? It is fun for us all to get together, but I hope that that was, well, was that worth your time?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so turn to the person next to you and say, I'm so impressed with how you make.
We're already getting started.
Okay. I'm so impressed with how you make choices that give a return on your time. Go ahead.
I guess so.
Okay, see you next time, everyone.
Yeah.
My people should pass that.